Gold has always been the symbol of wealth. Kings hoarded it. Empires fought over it. Families hid it in walls and floors as if it could save them from disaster. But history has a secret. There was a time when gold was not the top prize. There was a currency so powerful, so essential, that people valued it more than gold. And it wasn't shiny. It wasn't rare jewelry. It didn't sit in royal vaults. It was salt. Yes, salt. The same thing you sprinkle on food. But in ancient times, salt was not just seasoning. Salt was survival. Salt was medicine. Salt was preservation. Salt was power. If you controlled salt, you controlled life. Now imagine this. You're a merchant, traveling through a hot, dusty world. No refrigerators, no plastic, no modern medicine. Meat rots quickly. Fish becomes poison in hours. Vegetables spoil. Even clean water is not guaranteed. But salt can stop that. Salt can pull moisture out of food, kill bacteria, and keep a family alive through winter. It can preserve fish for a journey. It can preserve meat for an army. It can make a weak body recover. So when salt appears in a market, people don't treat it like a spice. They treat it like a lifeline. And like every lifeline, it becomes valuable. In some regions, salt was so scarce that a small pouch of it could buy what gold could not. Not because gold was worthless, but because gold couldn't feed you. Gold couldn't preserve your food. Gold couldn't stop disease from spreading. Gold couldn't keep an army marching. Salt could. This is why salt became one of the first true strategic resources in human history. And once a resource becomes strategic, it becomes controlled. In ancient civilizations, the most powerful people understood something. You don't need to own all the gold to rule a society. You just need to control what people cannot live without. So rulers began to do something clever. They didn't just trade salt. They regulated it. They taxed it. They guarded it. Because if you can control salt, you can control prices. You can control trade. You can control entire populations. Picture a salt road, a long path of caravans, donkeys, and sweating men carrying heavy white blocks across deserts and mountains. Each block is worth more than it looks like, not because it shines, but because it saves lives. Now we meet a man named Kalen. He is not a king, not a general, just a trader. He carries a small pouch of gold coins, but he hides them deep, because he knows something. In the wrong place, gold is useless. He reaches a market on the edge of a dry land. The air smells of dust and heat. People look tired. Their food spoils quickly here. Their animals die. Their water is unreliable. Kalen offers gold for supplies. The seller looks at his coin, then looks back at Kalen with no excitement. He pushes the coin away and says, "Gold is pretty, but what can I do with it today?" Then the seller points to a guarded stall, where a man sits beside white blocks under cloth. Salt. Kalen walks there. He takes out his gold again. The guard laughs. "Gold?" he says. "Here, gold doesn't matter." Kalen feels a cold fear. He came prepared. He came with wealth. And yet, in this place, he is poor. Because the real currency here is not gold. It's the thing people cannot live without. Salt. And in that moment, Kalen understands. Value is not beauty. Value is not shine. Value is necessity. And the most valuable currency in history was not the one that looked richest. It was the one that kept humans alive. Now zoom out. This wasn't just one market. This happened again and again across the ancient world. In parts of Africa, salt was traded in heavy slabs and used like money. In parts of Europe, salt was so important that entire towns formed around salt mines. In the Roman world, Salt became so essential that the state began to control it. And here's the part most people don't realize. Some workers were paid in salt, not always directly, but often through salt allowances, salt rations, or salt-based trade value. That idea left a mark on language. The word salary is often linked to salt because salt represented pay, survival, and value. Whether every detail of the origin is debated, one truth is not. Salt shaped economies, salt shaped empires, and salt created one of the oldest patterns in history. If people must have it, powerful institutions will control it. So governments taxed salt. They built monopolies. They set prices. They guarded production. And when a government controls salt, it gains a weapon. Because salt is not optional. If you raise the price, people cannot simply walk away. They must pay. This is why salt taxes became some of the most hated taxes in history. Now imagine being an ordinary family. You work all day. You barely have enough food. And then, the government says, if you want salt, you must pay extra. A tax on survival. A tax on preservation. A tax on health. In some places, salt taxes triggered smuggling networks. In others, they triggered rebellion. Because people will tolerate many things. But when you control the thing that keeps their children alive, fear turns into anger. And here's the deeper lesson. Gold is a symbol of wealth. But symbols only matter when life is stable. When life is unstable, when food spoils, when disease spreads, when winter threatens, the most valuable currency is the resource that protects you. That's why salt can be more valuable than gold. Not forever, not everywhere. But in key moments of history, salt was the true king. And then time changed the world. Trade routes expanded. Salt sources became easier to access. Preservation methods improved. The modern economy rose. Salt became cheap. And gold reclaimed its crown. As the shiny, universal symbol, people could store and trade. But if you want to understand how money really works, remember this story. Value is not what looks expensive. Value is what people cannot live without. A currency is not powerful because it shines. A currency is powerful because it solves a problem. And for ancient humans, salt solved the biggest problem of all: how to survive. So the next time you hold a gold coin in your mind, ask yourself something strange. If the world collapsed tomorrow, would gold be what you want? Or would you want the forgotten currency that once mattered even more? This is hidden money history. And that is the forgotten currency that was more valuable than gold.